Before I go about talking about the reality of self-respect, it's important that I address how I came about defining self-respect in the first place. For the longest time, self-respect to me had meant knowing my value as a person and acting accordingly, which to some extent is the definition of self-respect. I assume that self-respect is avoiding people and situations that do not reflect the value I have as a person, because in the context that people would expect you to show respect was usually context that required to leave situations where respect is no longer offered. And I think there's even a saying that leave the table when respect is no longer being offered or served. And I think that was my understanding of self-respect for the longest time. But then I came to understand that I was neglecting the self in self-respect, that a lot of the work to really practice self-respect had to do with myself, because I assumed that self-respect means that if a friend doesn't respect my time, I should stop making plans with said friend. If somebody doesn't speak well of me, avoid it. If a situation makes me feel less than I am, leave the situation. Because that was the context where people would usually tell you to practice self-respect. But then I've come to realize that self-respect is essentially just showing my self-respect. So if I expect people to respect my time, it means that I also have to stop doom scrolling on TikTok for hours, wasting my own time. I have to stop investing my precious time in things that are not valuable, things that are trivial, things that drain my energy, that do not add to my emotional, physical, mental, career growth, nothing. I was just wasting my time and expecting people to respect my time, because if I want people to respect my time, I should respect mine. If I want people to speak well of me, to speak good to me, to not yell at me, to not raise their voice at me, I should also stop the negative self-talk. I should never call myself ugly. I should never say that I am not good enough for anything, because I don't expect that of people. So why expect it of myself? If I talk about how I want people to respect my space, it means I should never have a messy room. I should never come to a room that is messy. I should lay my bed. I should keep things. I shouldn't leave dishes anywhere, because that is respecting my own space. So that's what self-respect is. And I think when we also start addressing self-respect that way, we can call out the issues we have with ourselves. This redefinition of self-respect helped me to deal with a lot of imposter syndrome, because when I wasn't showing my self-respect but I was demanding it of other people, I was demanding something that I didn't even believe in myself. The worth that I think people should see, I wasn't seeing it to myself, because I was not practicing it to myself, if that makes sense. Almost dropped this. Anyway, so that's what self-respect now is: showing myself the necessary respect. If I think that I am worth my time, my emotion, my presence should be respected, I have to do the things that show respect. Now, when we talk about self-respect, there's a whole billion-dollar industry. There are so many books talking about how you should grow, how to set boundaries, it's like a whole industry that talks about self-help and getting people to really grow and respect themselves, that whole shebang. There's a whole industry that talks about these things. But I think that where a lot of these resources fall short is really not exposing the reality of actually making the drastic change to set boundaries for yourself and be a better person. One of the things I had to learn the hard way about growth, valuing yourself as a person and acting accordingly, is how lonely it gets. It is a very lonely endeavor, because we live in a society where not many people are actually doing the inner self-work that a lot of us should be doing. Not a lot of us are really into self-improvement. A lot of us are living in autopilot, being products of our environment. Whatever comes is what we take. We are not doing the work to really challenge our beliefs, question our habits, all these things. Not a lot of people are doing that, and I think the world would be a better place if a lot of us did that. We question our everyday life all the time and try to be better people. I don't think a lot of people are doing that inner self-work. In the same vein that people are not doing the necessary self-work they are supposed to do, they can't also recognize when somebody is setting necessary boundaries that are valuable or are worthy in people. What am I saying? I am saying that because a lot of people have not put in the effort to set necessary boundaries, know what they deserve and what they should reject. When they see it in other people, they take it as a personal slight. They don't know how to handle people who reject what is not for them. One thing I've also had to learn is that a lot of people are ready to sell you. Is it the short end of the stick? A lot of people are ready to sell you the short end of the stick in relationships. A lot of people are ready to cut corners. They are ready to offer you low bargain treatment when they meet you, and then when you reject it, it becomes a problem because it's what they are used to offering. So what do I mean when I say this? I mean that when you start practicing self-respect, most of the time you stop accepting disrespect from people. You start setting boundaries. You stop being a people pleaser. And people who tend to benefit from these relationships where they can cross your boundaries, where they can benefit from you without showing their core respect, feel entitled to your personality, feel entitled to your presence, feel entitled to the treatment they were getting by crossing your boundaries. And then they start calling you rude, they start calling you arrogant because they are not used to this side of you where you set boundaries. If they are so used to taking your money and not paying on time and you start demanding it, suddenly you are selfish for not being understanding because they are used to that kind of relationship. There are so many examples of this in everyday life where people are used to showing less than ideal treatment and expecting people to consider it because they are used to crossing that boundary. And when you start showing self-respect, you're most likely going to be the villain. And I say that self-respect or having self-respect can be lonely because if you're somebody that lived most of your life not having good self-worth, not having good self-esteem, not really respecting yourself the way you're supposed to respect yourself, most likely some of your relationships are built on that tenet, are built on you letting go of your boundary, you being a people pleaser. So once you start setting boundaries, they are going to go out the window. You're going to become the villain in many people's lives. Not only are you going to lose people because they are so used to crossing your boundaries, you are going to outgrow people that are with you because you guys bond over shared lack of self-worth. What do I mean? There are some relationships that you have or you're able to maintain because both of you have the common goal of complaining together about things that are not fair to you. It's built on not having self-worth. It's built on not being able to do a lot of things because you are most likely going to attract what you are. So if you are somebody with low self-respect and low self-esteem, you are going to attract people who are just like you, and a lot of your relationships are going to be built on that. So once you start learning self-respect, you stop having these common goals and ideals and mindsets with certain people, and you are definitely going to outgrow them, once again becoming the villain in most people's stories. And it's unfortunate that most people will not grow out of that thinking. They are going to just perpetuate their thinking. They are going to continue to have low self-esteem and low self-respect, and you are going to outgrow those situations and they are going to get really lonely. Aside that, having low self-respect means that some of your relationships are built on you dimming your light so that other people feel better. Some people are keeping you as friends because the lack of growth, the lack of light in your life makes them feel better about themselves. You elevate the blessings in their life because you don't appreciate yours or you don't show yours. So when you start having self-esteem, when you stop accepting less than, you're going to lose those people because you no longer make them feel good about themselves. You start to challenge that idea that they are somehow better than you. You stop playing the purpose of being the person that makes them feel better about themselves. You stop people pleasing. They can't take advantage of that to make themselves feel better. With self-respect, you also start seeing through manipulation. Some of the people that you thought were your ride or die, you realize that they've been manipulating you to get what they want. People guilt trip you. People are keeping you around as their emotional support animal without really treasuring you. People are keeping you around for aesthetics, so many things. You start seeing through manipulation, and when you call it out, you become the villain. You become selfish, you become arrogant, you become doing too much. Or sometimes you don't even confront you just realize that you have different values and ideas from this person. You feel hurt by the fact that this person has been manipulating you all your life. The guilt comes in, the stress comes in, and then the resentment. So it can be a very lonely endeavor when it comes to self-respect because you are doing a complete 360. Having self-respect has created such a void in your life. When you practice self-respect, it's suddenly like a veil has been lifted off your head. You start to see through things, you start to see the world differently, and the world you have built around having low self-respect is going to crumble before you. You are going to lose people that are not for you, and it's unfortunate, and the loneliness is not any less painful. But the truth is that loneliness is temporary, because once you have good self-esteem, you suddenly become very picky. You choose the right people, you surround yourself by the right people, you put yourself in the right situations, and it definitely pays off, because loneliness is the cost of greatness, is the cost of growth, because you are losing the person you once were, and that's okay. So when it comes to self-respect, there's so much that is in store for so when it comes to self-respect, there's so much in store for you, and you should just keep going, because you definitely find the right people.